I haven't heard any complaints of the, traffic, patrol down there and whatever, everything's gone smoothly as far as I know.
We got good crews working for us. They've done a great job, so.
A couple people have suggested that maybe they would apply for that job next time, and they said those guys literally just sat there all day long. Like, 3 trucks go, like, get out, stop traffic for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Back to baseball.
Exactly.
That's like a pretty good gig.
It is, it's a great game, so.
Okay. Any questions for them with regards to that?
Yeah, it's, our recommendation to have you all, the county commission, approve Burns and McDonald to do the baseline road survey for us.
Just need a motion to approve.
Well, we can do that here.
Well, we gotta do it.
I'd like to
They are still-
I'd like to visit with Jeff, I guess, hopefully this road too, and talk about it.
This is just a planning and zoning.
Okay, great, yeah. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anything else on public input, planning and zoning side of things? If not,
I move that we move out of planning and zoning and, continue to county commission.
Second.
motion and second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay. We'll call order the, Kent County Board of Commissioners. Can we, is that a point we're ready, or do you want to wait till 1:30?
No, it's scheduled at 1:30.
Okay. Shane comes,
Yeah.
maybe we can.
Alright, mine is just some budget questions. I would like to, withdraw the, $677.95 from our K-9 t-shirt fund, and the line item is there to be deposited into a trust account, so we can keep it separate from county funds, so when it rolls over to the next year, it doesn't go back to zero. The idea was to raise money, it's always building to where if I need to, buy the dog a vest or a new cage or something for the car to keep it safe or something, then I have those funds built up separate from our budget.
I will so move.
Need a motion?
It never hurts. The only cost is income pickup.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, to create count. For the dog. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, and also we have, it says here, request to move 6,000 from our 24/7 account to cover vehicle 1, 2, and 3 supply, which would be our, mainly our fuel. I spoke with Doug a little bit about it, and I don't think I understood correctly. It's not possible to move that from that fund because it's its own account. So, I won't do that. I would like to move 5,000 from our minor equipment furniture line to cover some of the vehicle maintenance lines that we have, gone over.
And we're talking about in our present budget.
And this is on our 2022 budget.
You think that'll cover you through the end of the year? It's kind of a.
It's not a supplement, it's not a transfer, we're simply rearranging where he allocated his projections.
Any problems with that?
None.
Auditing, yeah.
None, because it doesn't change his budget, it just changes the appearance of his budget.
And so then, how are they getting the money for the fuel?
He didn't buy any minor equipment.
I didn't buy any.
Oh, so the second request is the same.
Right. So it's just recategorizing the
It's just,
budget authority.
Still, still looks like it'll be within budget at the end of the year.
well, it's gonna be tight.
We had quite a bit more jail, didn't we?
We had a lot more jail. Our jail budget is not going to be, we're not gonna be covered. That will be over. Again, with more jail, I think, I believe the court appointed attorney fees are way up too, is that correct? We just had more.
That's not in your budget, that's not in your budget though, is it?
No, the court appointed, it correlates.
Yes, I understand.
I like to point out that, our expenditures this year have come from, we just arrested too many people, to be honest with you. We just had more crime and.
You need to make a contingency fund transfer then at this point, it's the last meeting of the year.
No, because you don't know what the amount's gonna be.
We need to authorize it before the end of the year, contingency fund
If
transfer.
it looks that bleak, it'll be on the agenda.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, we got one more. Forgot about that.
Yeah, so you just need to make a motion to approve the restructuring of
I'll make that motion.
Second?
A motion and a second to restructure the line items, cover fuel costs. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Who is the
Motion
second?
carries.
Anthony's in the academy, so he's on his second week already, and we're just sending out our good wishes for him. But other than that, everything's going good, like I said, just too many trips to jail.
What kind of dog food are you eating? We saw.
Anthony, I think he's eating LET food.
It's what? It's kind of high priced stuff, whatever it was.
Yeah, he goes through the vet and he gets some discount there if you, it's not quite that good.
Sell the sheriff's office of steer.
There you go. We'll make it to the dog.
So I go smack some roadkill.
Right.
All right,
Thank you, Shane.
You gonna make call it?
Yeah, I hear it now.
Randy's here. Oh, relax.
No easier.
Sherry's on the agenda. Not ready. Oh, Sherry's not here. Okay. Wait till she gets here. All right, bye. Well, let's see if she's in the meeting.
Yeah. You want to do the consent agenda?
She might, you see if she was signing, she might have put her phone on, do that, disturb her signing of the meeting.
No, she's not in the waiting room. Brandy's here.
Yeah, we'll do that if you want to. Yeah, Randy, you want to come up? Please.
Well, I got some extra money left in my town budget. We said, new fairground account, putting that out. Try that, see if it helps there for fairground stuff.
Is it dry?
No, it's,
So there's somewhere to keep it, so they'll store it for you till spring?
maybe long term. Yeah, decommission solutions. About 10 gallons of that.
What was the cost again, Randy?
That'll be 27.52.
$2,752.
For 10 gallons.
You're doing that for budget reasons, because you got.
That's leftover budget. we'll do the best process again.
We did change things up a little bit at the end of last year, because we were afraid of not being able to get chemicals, so Randy had budget left, so he ordered chemicals before the end of the year, so we're kind of about the same as we were last year, we're getting ordered, so we know we've got it.
Do we need a motion for that, to authorize that?
It would be best.
Yeah. Do you have a move?
Second,
And get some milestone.
We'll finish, let's finish your motion, I guess. You're talking just the one at the moment, and then
you want to make the motion, and the last one, do it?
Well, I don't think we can do that.
Okay.
They're different vendors.
All right,
we have a motion and a second for the purchase of the, new ground there. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries. Milestone,
That milestone for next quarter, 10 gallons of that, will put me about what we started at the beginning of this year. We did buy a little bit last summer.
and how much is that?
That'd be $2,200 for 10 gallons.
Why are we getting through next quarter?
Cheaper.
Price.
They wanted that last time.
Okay.
This is what we got those.
I will move to approve the milestone purchase.
Second.
A motion and a second for the milestone, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Then John talked to me about, getting one, light for one of the Rangers to push it on, get it back on. And I got some prices. There's one that's winch operated. And that one's hydraulic operated.
Is there currently a winch on it?
No.
We, the weed board,
Was there, I got a hand operated one first for me.
apparently, it cuts a lot of cost off, if you look at my head. We discussed this at the weed board meeting, the possibility of using either one of the four-wheelers or one of the Rangers to plow snow for the courthouse parking lot, the library parking lot, some of that stuff that right now the highway department is taking care of, and it might free up time for the highway department. The weed board was, they said they thought this would be okay if we used one of the machines to do that, but they wanted Randy to run it, not, not somebody that isn't familiar with machines, so that we end up having one of our weed machines broke down going into spring, when we need it for spraying. That was the recommendation of the weed board, was to have Randy run it, and so we put random people on there and they tear that thing up over the winter, and then it isn't ready to go in the spring, was their concern.
The hand operated one's for 4
These bids are, because the hand one is
The
for
hand
four
one's
wheelers.
for 4
Okay, and the other two are for the Ranger. Okay.
Is that,
The real question is, do we want to just let the highway department keep taking care of those parking lots, or for light snows? I mean, they're gonna have to come if it's heavy snow anyway, but for light snows, do we wanna?
Let's ask Jeff what he thinks about it, should we?
Well, yeah, it would free us up to, the lighter snow would be pretty easy.
I think I did a good job, I don't know.
Well, there's a couple things at play. His skid loader actually sits outside of the sidewalk. So the wheel spacing of the skid loader is bigger than the sidewalk. And so it doesn't necessarily cause a big issue, but it will tear up the sod. And so for a while, he was using the broom, and that actually worked pretty decent, but Will has a snow blower, and he's got shovels and stuff like that. But when I mentioned this thought to Jim, it was about just being able to quickly move the snow off the sidewalks with this four-wheeler. And he's got to check and make sure that the UTVs don't have the same thing, where they actually exceed the width of the
A lot of them are.
sidewalk. And that's why I thought
I got
using
spaces on too, so we got wide.
using the ATV with a little plow on it, and then eventually just teach Will to do it, because the issue is like along the curve out here, they build a windrow of snow for the loader buffer. Whereas if somebody could come ahead of the snow plow and push that out into the yard, it would keep that curb line clean, and we wouldn't have people walking through it and trying to step over it. So personally, I'm advocating for it to be on one of the older, smaller machines if you do this. But today we found out to make an attachment for the zero turn lawnmower, if you wanna go that route.
What will that cost, roughly?
You see 1,300?
Something like that.
The zero turn has enough power to move small amounts?
Yeah.
It, those are really heavy at the rear end. Those country clipper mowers are, maybe would have to put chains on it or something, but I would think it certainly has the traction.
Is it an old Dixon for one of those?
No,
That's, that kind
it's
of.
kind of clipper, it's a bit more.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't even know they made one of those.
Did you guys discuss any other uses for the plow on a Ranger, if we got one? Other than the park?
Look, could be used at the other buildings.
Yeah,
Where the highway department already,
Well, for example, like the front of the library, you can't get the big loader up in there without tearing stuff. You can run the skid loader in there, but ultimately what happens is, it doesn't do the fine work, so.
Do we need to make any budget adjustments if we went this route?
Like buying a plow,
If we weren't gonna have the highway department, tackling this work on a regular basis?
No.
For heavy snows, we wouldn't have to do anything?
no, we don't move any funds around for moving stuff.
Okay.
There was one more concern that the weed department, Ford brought up, was if this plow adds any additional hardware brackets or anything underneath the machines, they wanted to make sure it was something that was easy to take off. Because they didn't want to have that stuff getting beat up by hitting a rock or something.
looks here, it looks like it's just a little thing about, the whole, I thought the whole thing went over there, but it looks like,
I don't know, I feel like I have one personally, and it's wider than the sidewalk most of the time. It eats up stuff, yeah, you can get a small one, but I think you're gonna have, you'd be better off with a four-wheeler under one of them, you're not in, I don't know if you are that county, but, the four-wheeler ones are certainly smaller, you're more maneuverable with one four-wheeler versus a Ranger, you just get in a tight spot.
Well, that zero turn mower, if it would push a plow, that would be the real deal, because you can zip it in the sidewalk, turn around right in the, they turn right in their own track.
I guess to me, we table it personally.
I was gonna say, is there any objection to us exploring that? 'Cause like I said, we just saw it at lunch today, that they made.
We've been doing it, the way we've been doing it for how long, a little longer to make a difference.
I don't know, it's something.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
And we've got one more thing.
This way, I think we just got that there.
no, I agree
with you.
I think we should just table it for now.
One more thing on Randy's, deal. It is listed further down, it's about the trees in our county road ditches. I suggested that, I asked him, why don't we spray the trees in county road ditches, these little 4, 5, 6 foot tall trees, and just kill them? And, he said, well, he didn't know he was supposed to. And so we talked about it, and the board was 100% in favor of just adding those to, almost like Jerome Schaefer said, a tree where you want it is a tree where you don't want it is a weed.
Yes, everyone is a potential lawsuit against the county.
The entire board was in favor of spraying small trees in the road ditches while they're already there spraying. Because I think, mouse won't take out the cedars too, or do you know?
I'm not sure.
It'll certainly take out any of the brush or any of the, cedars, I think, all trees, but, so, it's gonna take another, maybe at the very most, 2 gallons of spray. You're probably a gallon of chemical a year to spray all the trees in the road ditches. And so the weed board was 100% in favor of it. They said if this board is in favor of it, they will direct Randy to to start hitting them trees while he's spraying, because there's no sense in letting them grow up to where we have to take machinery to take them out. If they see a tree, spray it, and keep, I mean, we're required to keep them out of our ditches, so.
Right.
If it's the consent of this board to have you spray the trees in the ditches, that is the.
I would have consensus for that, I guess.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yep. So that takes care of this item.
Okay, anything else for Randy? All right, thanks, Randy.
Let me consider on the line here.
Sarah, can you hear me? I cannot hear you. Okay, now say something. You're still not coming across my speakers up here, but I can fix that.
Your sound is off.
Connect my phone to it, that's better.
Now I lost your video.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but I can't see you.
She makes it for every scenery.
Oh, you're gonna talk about me.
You tell me when to start talking.
I'll fix that. I just need
It didn't sound good.
Okay, no, we just got rid of an echo. All right.
Put my tilt action on.
Hello?
There, just
Hi, Sarah.
hold it for you.
Oh, we can.
Well, you can shoot up there,
Yeah,
we can see you.
Oh, wow.
I can see you.
That's the Doug Foley.
Go ahead, Sarah.
So my name is Sarah Newman, and I've asked to be in this meeting to get the 2023 contract signed for my position for victim services in Han County. So nothing has changed from the last 2 years that I've done with these services as far as cost and contract. The only things that are updated in it is the date. So I would just ask that it be signed and that I can continue assisting with crime victims in Han County.
The cost is the same to the county, Sarah?
It actually went
If
down.
there've been nothing's changed.
It actually went down a little bit.
Pretty simple. I kind of laughed this year thinking, maybe next year I'll do a 5-year and you have to opt out of it. And then I don't have to come back every year and ask, because nothing really changes, but the numbers on the paper.
How many counties do you have, Sarah?
I have 11 total. Beetle County is my home, and then I'm contracted in 10 counties that surround.
I moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the contract. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Thanks, Sarah.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all we need for that. Fortunately, there's no other paperwork to be done as well.
You have the contract there, right?
Yeah. Here. Somewhere. So. Sure bad.
Doug, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Where in the budget does this item appear?
It's attorney's budget.
Okay.
It was originally budgeted like at $6,000 out of the alcohol reversion money. And then ultimately the price went down. I think it's at 24, something like that number.
That's 2,200 in this,
22.
assuming all 10 counties.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, you wanna come up, please?
you guys want a copy of the HCA side financials?
Sure.
I'll review the Avera side and send those, so I want to make sure I just review those quickly with you, appreciate you having me on share. Matt Hankins, so in the interim administrator role right now at Avera, I'm telling you that oversee the assistant member, HCA and change as well. So on the Avera side, fiscal year reminder is July through June, so we ended in June of 2022. We're starting fiscal year 23. Fiscal year 22, we had inpatient revenue of 3.8 million. That was 194 discharges, 952 total patient days, and then our average census was about 2.5 patients a day.
Is that plus or minus?
Plus, yeah,
That's up.
yep, on the Avera side. Though you won't find any Avera in the packets, that's just gonna be the HCMH. Outpatient revenue, that's our ED visits, any outpatient infusions, observation visits. We had 11,282, the total revenue was 11 million. This is gross revenue. In the clinic revenue, we had 9,084 visits, which equated to 1.5 million in gross revenue. After deductions, which would be bad debt, charity care, contractual allowances, that was 6.2 million. We had about a $10.5 million gross revenue or net revenue for operations.
That goes up in all categories.
Yep. Well, they're on, inpatient and clinic were on budget, outpatient was above budget for the year.
Is the number of clinic visits consistent with prior years or higher?
Consistent right now. We may see a little bit next year with some of the transitions, but.
Well, COVID largely in the rearview mirror, is that gonna make a huge difference in revenues over there?
It might increase our visits as, people are more comfortable coming back into the facility.
Why is it the opposite?
Well, without COVID, without COVID, we're seeing an uptick in people coming back into see visits. With COVID, we saw more people putting off visits to their providers. And so now we have more of those, just your regular diabetes checks, your wellness checks. We have more of those patients coming back in and seeing their providers. On the expense side, our expenses were above budget. Majority of that above budget was in our salaries and then drugs and pharmaceutical costs. In our salary and wages and benefits, we invested 5.5 million into our employees in our community. So willing and glad to be that investing in our employees, our community. It equates to about 75 to 85 people or a total of 55 FTEs. One of the reasons for the increase in wages is we did do a $2 an hour minimum increase in November 2021, which was not budgeted. So every person got a $2 an hour minimum increase in their salary. So that's the reason we were above budget. Total expenses equated to 8.8 million for the year, which was again above budget for us. We did have an operating, a positive operating bottom line. A reminder that our lease states that the first 25% of that cash flow goes to Avera McKenna, and the remainder comes back to us in the facility. So up to 25% or 75,000, so we paid our 75,000 to McKenna, and we retain the rest of the bottom line into a capital account here that we reinvest in our people in our community, in our property.
25% of cash flow or profit margin?
Cash flow.
Cash flow.
Cash flow. Yep, close to McKinnon, get 25%, the first 75,000, that's 25%, everything after 75,000 stays here.
I don't know if this is the appropriate venue to even mention this, if it isn't, tell us. Our physician acquisition efforts, moving forward, yet or not?
They are, I anticipated that question. We've been contracted with a physician recruiting company since last May to supplement Dr. Turner and Dr. Hopkins. That was the goal at the time. We've had a lot of traction in the last month and a half or two with some potential candidates that we're planning site visits for at this time. So we're hoping to have 2 site visits within the next 2 or 3 months with some potential candidates. One that's more immediate fill and one that's a 2024 grad. So
Can we limp along with current personnel until that happens?
We can, we'll have to change a little bit of operations. My hope is that with Dr. Hopkins leaving, the gap between, the position that could start sooner is very small. I would say at the longest, we're looking at potentially June, start date if that goes well, if not sooner with that position, so.
I'm glad to hear that.
And then we did, on the advanced practice provider side, so our Shelley Wiesler, Brittany Kerr, and Karen Runge, we did hire another part-time nurse practitioner for the next year as well. So she'll be joining the team in January. So we will have another provider as well.
What's the difference between PA and a nurse practitioner?
Schooling. Nurse practitioners are nurses first. They go back and get a 2-year degree. Physician assistant. They generally just have a 4-year degree in the health sciences field, and then they go back and they don't necessarily have a background in healthcare to get a PA degree, but they do basic a lot of similar training, but I don't know all the differences. They could probably speak more specifically to that, but they do the same as far as practice goes. They do basically the same things. Their ability is the same unless they specialize in a certain area. Okay, and then on some of the HCMH side, fiscal year is the same, June through July through June. Just a reminder, we operate the assisted living, the wellness center here in Miller and Highmore. We have the ambulance service, and then we have the properties in green space that are west of the facility as well. On page 2 is our balance sheet. Just want to highlight a few things. Current liabilities of $111,000. And then we no longer have any long-term debt. In 2021, we had just a little bit remaining with our 2014 ambulance that we purchased, and then final payments on our properties, our housing properties. On page 3, it's our income statement. Total patient resident revenue, $937,000. Ambulance services included in that was $167,000 with 222 ambulance calls during fiscal year 22. Had 7,700 patient or resident days in the facility. We remain at full capacity. The only time there's any open bed is when we're turning over from one resident to the next resident. So remain at full capacity in the assisted living, which is great. Other revenue, you can see that on there as well, total $564,000. So our total revenue at the end of fiscal year 22 was $1.5 million. On the expense side, our salaries and wages increased from 21 to 22. We did make a similar change to Avera in wage increases at the same time. So that was not budgeted for, but that accounts for most of the salary and wage increase. Also want to highlight depreciation and amortization at $193,000. Total expenses were $1.667 million, which left us with an operating loss of $165,000 for the year. I did go back and look at a 10-year trend. That is in line with the last 10 years. We continue to remain cash flow positive, but post a negative bottom line every year. So that's why I highlighted depreciation and amortization. So earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, we are a positive bottom line. Also to note, last year we received paycheck protection and stimulus revenue that we did not receive this year, which is one of the reasons we posted positive last year. Let's see. On page 5, we have current cash on hand, $86,640. And on page 9, it shows the available for expenditure if we needed to or was deemed necessary by our board for any capital improvements and debt redemption. That note's at the bottom is the liquidity and availability on page 9.
Is the cash on hand so much lower because of the COVID revenues?
Yeah, from last year to this year, that's one of the reasons that our cash is lower, is we didn't have of COVID above and beyond payments. So we're back to what was pre-COVID levels of what our cash looked like. I did do a 10-year trend, and it is in line with those previous years. Yep. Page 11 and 12 note our investments. Those are in a pooled investment fund with Avera. It was not the greatest year in the market, which I'm sure we're all aware. So we did have a down year for our investments. Other ones, that's what I wanted to highlight. These were approved by our board at our October meeting. And then I'll bring any questions.
If you're full capacity, the courtyard villa, is there any strategic planning about expanding a facility in place?
There, one of the things that Brian left with was some potential opportunity. I haven't gotten into it too much, equating into my role. I'm still relatively new in the last 5 months. I do think that we do need to look at what does that next step look like for our senior population and how we're taking care of them, whether that's assisted living, whether that's whatever it may be, what is the way that we're doing that for our residents in our community. So.
I mentioned that he's heavily involved in all that.
Yeah, and Brian's I report to Brian still. So Brian offers a lot of insight and advice into historical past of things that we can do. And, Avera has a strong investment in long-term care as well. And so from the Avera side, we anticipate that they would be supportive of any potential strategic initiatives moving forward as well.
Right. Any other questions?
I have one other real quick question. You guys have placed, I think, in the top 5 or top 10 or whatever it is for the last how many years in acute care hospital rankings among the best in the country.
Yep.
How many different hospitals are in that category? Is there 100 or 1,000 or 10,000?
So they're total critical access hospitals, which is what our designation is. I think there's about 1,300 in the United States. We've placed in the top 25 the last 3 years in a row, the top 100, I think the last 5 or 6.
Is there anything in particular, a number of things?
They look at, it's your quality scores and metrics. They look at financial cost. They look at, what are the other ones?
Well, is there one thing that stands out for this facility?
Well, I think we do great on all the measures. I mean, our quality is high. We have great physicians, great nurses, great team.
So it's outcomes?
It's your quality outcomes. Yeah, it's your readmissions, your mortality rates, it's your how do you do with infection control, those types of quality measures. They're also submitted to CMS. On the finance side, it looks at your costs. Is it affordable as compared to market? Access to care. How easy is it for people to get access to care when they need it?
That's pretty basic.
It is. We have I think it speaks to, if you look at the longevity of a lot of our employees, both on HCMH and Avera, we've been here for a long time. And you don't stay in a place for a long time unless you really enjoy it, really love what you do. And it's evident when you talk to staff, when you watch staff work, that they love their jobs and that they want to care for their community. And it's their families, a lot of them. So they're dedicated to our community, our physicians are dedicated to the community. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who's not willing to go the extra mile, I think, within the facilities for our community. So
It shows.
yeah, it does, absolutely.
All right, excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sherry?
I gotta see if Kim is. I got a big old smile on my.
Last one of these you have to go to?
Huh?
Last one of these you gotta attend?
Well, I don't know if I'll have to attend the last one of the year or not, but I'm not planning on it. Just so you don't know, it's not in my plan. I'd like to introduce to you April Vanderwerf. She is our new hire, and we would like you to approve that and her salary.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to approve the hire April. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Well,
Okay, the second part of my, asks are, I would like to be able to close the office on the last day of the year, which would be December 30th. At noon, we would go to lunch, and at 1 o'clock, we'd come back and have the door closed. We'd be there to work, but we have lots of things to do before so we can transition from the weekend. We gotta make sure all the bank accounts, jive, we have cash to count. Doug and I have 2 cash item accounts to count, Susie's and the sheriff's.
we need to get an ad in the paper.
Yes, I will, if you approve it, I will put an ad in the paper.
I got one question about that. Should we do it on the second floor?
Don't ask me, I'm just
I
asking
mean,
for me.
would that help you, Doug? To have it?
Nothing would help me.
Well, what I'm just saying, is we have other offices that are closing out their year end.
I would say it would help my office.
Yeah, honestly, it would.
Are we, so, I don't see a problem with it. I think it'd be good for, no one's coming into your office, no one's bothering you, you can focus on closing out the year.
I would normally just ask for a couple hours, but since I am retiring, Kim's, but this year, so that's why I'm asking for the whole afternoon.
I think it's something we should look at maybe doing every year at noon. Give them time to get their stuff done.
This is the 30th we're talking about.
It'll be the last
31st is
day
Saturday.
of the year.
Fiscal year.
I know a lot of people are trying to come in at the last second to do.
Well, yeah.
But you know what?
I mean,
Once
it's
they-
usually long.
Well,
Once you get through the first.
People
You
forget
know,
to register.
those guys that
Yeah.
go and get estimates and have to buy
Willing
something
to take.
at the end of the year, So, but
I
as long as
think-
they know we're gonna be closed, right, yeah, we always have up to the last minute.
We're gonna extend this to library, highway's office, all the other highway, all the other
Well,
county functions.
they're still here working.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're still-
It's not like they're gone.
They're working.
I don't know what those other businesses have to be, what do they
Close
need to
out
wrap
their
up?
books.
I don't know how Shane does it, but it was a busy time for us in the sheriff's office. Because you're shutting down one business and restarting it the next day.
Yeah.
Well, then, are you saying it wouldn't work courthouse wide if the sheriff?
Oh, I think everybody could take advantage of it.
Even though it's a busy day for the sheriff's office, you're saying?
No, I know that when I was sheriff, it was a busy time as well.
But you're busy because you're trying to get your books done and then.
Oh, in that
No.
sense, I thought you meant public traffic.
No.
No, administratively.
Well, I move that we do that. Let's
Okay,
end
so-
at noon.
Everybody's still here working.
For the whole
It's just-
courthouse then?
Yeah, it's not like they're,
No, you're
taking
gonna-
Yeah, we're not taking vacation, it's just we want to be able to get our stuff done without having new stuff to do to add in before we close
The
out
the
the books.
departments that don't have to do a whole bunch of accounting, to close out the year, do their, whatever it is they were gonna do that day anyway.
Yeah,
But we gotta make sure we can adequate public notice.
right, and
So we have
we'll put it on
one-
the Facebook page and,
Your motion to do that at 1 o'clock?
One, okay?
well, yeah, we'll just close our office at 12, so we go to lunch
Oh, yeah,
from
yeah,
12 to 1.
12,
And then-
okay, 12. Have a motion.
Your motion just for the treasurer's office.
No, all the offices.
In the court-
You're-
in the
You're saying
courthouse.
all of them would
Courthouse wide.
benefit
so.
from this?
So nobody can come to the courthouse after noon?
Well, anything that isn't countywide will still be open. So like the clerk of court's office will still be open because they're state. With, John, if he's here, will still be open because he's state.
Dave.
Dave.
Well, it's not here on Friday.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Did you clarify your motion yet?
Well,
I didn't-
just one thing to think about is if they know the courthouse is closed at 12, they know it's everybody. It's not just, you know, I understand your point, Dan, if they could do business, you know, they could do business, but it's just that then we get somebody in the courthouse, if we have our doors open and they're gonna be in the offices, and we're gonna wait on them.
I mean, as long as, yeah, then you have half a day, because like you said, there's a lot of guys that come to town.
Yep,
New Year and
yep,
stuff.
yep, but as long as they know we're closed at noon, with plenty of advanced knowledge of it.
Courthouse closed to the public at noon.
Right.
On the 30th day of December.
Right,
Okay. that's
Put a
all.
clear sign on each office door that
Yeah.
we're closed for,
and a lot of times we're closed on that last day anyway, because the, you know, New Year's Day is like, last year we were closed the whole day. That last day of the year, because New Year's Day was on a Saturday, so.
Okay.
Do
Okay,
you have a second?
yes, second.
Have a motion and a second to close offices at noon on the 30th. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carried.
thank you very much, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Shane.
Jerry.
Okay. Consent agenda items?
We have a 2:00. Yes, he's not here.
Oh, yes. He's on the agenda.
Yes, he's out here. I will move to go into executive session